today.
I saw that. Thank you so much for sending them over. I know Ashley and team are going to review them and should be providing feedback by tomorrow.
I'll keep getting more.
Okay, there we go.
I'm speaking at a real estate conference or whatever at the end of the month. So I'll get some more then.
There we go. Good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely going to come in handy.
Everything all right with you?
Yes, sir. We hosted a little healthcare event yesterday night. We did a whiskey tasting with Glenn Fiddick. I had about 25, 30 doctors, dentists, a couple of healthcare founders there. And then had some of we had a couple of podcasters who are also in healthcare and some book authors that showed up to support, which was awesome. So I think we're going to be starting to do some more events and things here soon.
Great.
Yeah. Of course, helps that, Adam and I live in LA, but I know we've got some pretty good authors out on the East Coast in New York and Miami. So maybe we could do something there later this year.
I'm going to be in Anaheim in early November.
Okay. Well, perfect. Then we'll try to plan something around then.
Yeah, the National Association of Realtors has a conference every year. And last year was in Orlando, and they closed out Universal's Island of Adventure.
Right.
And Anaheim, they're going to close out Disneyland. So,
of course.
Yeah, well,
it's not making money.
Fun event.
Yes, indeed.
Can you guys hear me? This is Noelle here. Can you guys hear me?
Largest trade organization in the country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They wield some mighty power. I was at their, he was president. The room, it was 2,000-3,000 people in the room. It was nuts.
Okay, so now I'm starting to figure this out. I had to join this Twitter thing.
Sounds incredible.
And then request to speak.
There's a lot of folks.
And now I'm pressing to turn my mic on. So I'm going through here. Sorry, y'all. I have no idea what I'm doing. Can y'all hear me? Okay, so hi everybody. I'm joining now. Hi Chirag. Hi Denley. Hi Mark.
Hello. Hey.
Hey. Okay. Finally figured out. I could not figure out how to join this thing. I'm never really on Twitter. Y'all know I'm a YouTuber, so Twitter is different for me. So I didn't even know that this was not video. Y'all have no idea. I did makeup and hair for this Twitter Spaces. Literally that stupid. Did not know. And then I was telling my husband, and he said Twitter Spaces is like a podcast. And I was like, what? So then I was like, forget it. Since I did hair and makeup, I'm going on my live stream. So I'm literally on my live stream at the same time because I was like, I'm not wasting hair and makeup. So we're going to have this conversation. But I am going to live stream it and people are going to see me.
Oh my gosh, Noel, that's amazing.
Sorry. So yeah, I'm a dumbass, basically, who did not know that Twitter Spaces, and even Chirag, he knows because I was texting him where's the thumbnail? Because I just know YouTube. Everything is YouTube to me. I'm like, where's the thumbnail? It's like, what thumbnail?
Oh my gosh, Noel.
Yes.
Well, good to hear your voice, Noel. So we get your voice today.
Yes.
Let's see. No, we're gonna have some fun here today. And hey, Denley, hey, Mark. We got the squad here.
Hey, what's up, Adam? How's LA doing?
Yeah. I'm actually on my way to
Yeah, so I just put them on mute and I'm live streaming. Y'all can ask me questions here. If you're watching on the live stream, I'm gonna mute them sometimes and just deal with you guys. Like I said, since I put on hair and makeup, I'm gonna answer your questions. I got my kids trying to be quiet because it's 7:00 at night, and so bedtime is 8 p.m. So Zara asked me, if you had $20K, how would you invest it? Easily, of course. One, of course, start a business. Get the LLC or the S corp, get the EIN. but then you have to buy a piece of real estate. Like literally, you can
So
put down
Sharad,
3% and get your first rental property.
yeah,
Like you have to. 2023 is an amazing year, and
Um,
actually with 20K, you might be able to get 5 properties.
everyone,
Seriously,
welcome to another
especially if you do
exciting
some of the
week
stuff that I
with our
teach
Mission
you.
Matters Twitter Spaces. Every
Okay,
week we
where
put
you
together a
find
dialogue
people
where
behind
we
on their mortgage
bring
payments.
together celebrities, influencers.
So let's get back to this. I got
Entrepreneurs,
more. Y'all ask y'all
investors,
questions, and I'll come
and
back
what
to
we
you
do
guys
is
though.
curate these dialogues
So this
where
is
we
curating
really dive
dialogues.
into their stories and then open it up so that our audience at large then can chime in and we can have a full conversation. So this week we have real estate influencer Noel Randall. I'll introduce her in just a moment. But for those of you that are just tuning in that are not familiar with Mission Matters is a media outlet focused on the needs of entrepreneurs, executives, experts. Our mission is to help amplify their purpose so that we can inspire and educate future generations. We are also a book publishing company, a podcast agency, a PR agency, and a digital marketing agency. And here we have a few of our authors and podcasters that are here with us that join in. And we like to curate a community for all of them pretty consistently. So with that, let me now formally introduce Noelle. I want to make sure that I get her bio down properly. I have it right here, so give me 1 second while I pull this up. So Noelle Randall is a successful Amazon bestselling author, real estate entrepreneur, and coach with 20 years of experience. Her diverse business experience has been instrumental in her personal success, as well as in the success of countless people across the country. She teaches real estate investing to people from varying backgrounds that are ready to transform their financial status. Noelle is a full-time real estate investor and founder of the Noelle Randall Coaching program, providing training, workshops, and events teaching how to start from scratch and build a successful real estate investing business. She has nearly 1 million followers across all of her social media platforms, and I know we'll dive into some of the things she's done to build that following, as I know that many of our guests and many of our clients also want to build their following as we are all becoming more so media brands. Right. So with that, I'm going to pass the baton here to Adam to start the dialogue, and then we'll all jump in right after. So take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Sharad. And just for context, of all the time and talking to Noelle, this won't be like a normal podcast interview. So I'll get us kicked off, ask a bunch of questions, get us started. And then the goal is to get everybody involved so that they can also ask Noelle questions. All right. So first off, Noelle, good to talk to you. Since the last time I got to interview you and I saw some of the feedback we got,
yes,
I can see why you do what you do. Like you get the people going. So welcome back.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here. Like I said, I love this whole thing. Like, I feel like I was maybe just behind the scenes doing real estate and flipping houses. And now that I get to kind of be out here telling people about it, it is way more fun than I thought. So I think people are enjoying how much I'm enjoying it. And I am here on Twitter Spaces and I'm learning stuff every day.
It's awesome. So I know that one of the big things you do is, of course, coaching individuals in real estate, and also to really helping them get over some of those hurdles. Or a lot of times people think they may look at you and you're polished and, oh, that's Noelle, or she can do it, but I can't. Like all these things that get in our heads when they see people when they've made it, they're on that other side and hitting momentum. Yeah. But maybe just start off by sharing a little bit about your background, because from what I know of what we've talked about in the past, it wasn't always like that, right?
Right, it was not. And I think that's why I think I enjoy teaching it so much, because I started bankrupt in my parents' basement. I tell that you cannot talk to me for 15 minutes without me letting you know, yes, I'm a multimillionaire today, but I used to be broke. I was in my parents' basement. I had bad credit. I had multiple foreclosures. I was a disaster of a person, not just a disaster in real estate. I was a disaster of a person. I was not educated, and I just didn't even realize that was the key. You know what I mean? So it really wasn't until I started going out to all of those like seminars and conferences, and I just started getting around different people that said, hey, yes, you can, and here's how you do it. And then so once I learned it, then I did it. Now I teach it. It just feels like this is perfect. This is how life should be.
Yeah, and early on, I mean, like, so you've been, one thing that I admire about what you do and how you do it is you're not scared to work. Like,
No.
you didn't, hit that bump and, have to move back in with your parents and all things that happen. That didn't happen because you weren't trying and you weren't like going after it. I'm not mistaken, like that was around maybe 2008 or
that's right.
that period.
Yes,
when,
yep.
like,
And it was in my parents' basement, 2008, 2009. Yep, that crashed me.
And so that that education piece, though, it wasn't that you were like somebody. I like to kind of bring that out and maybe for you to go a little bit further with that, because it wasn't like that education piece and where you're getting your education from and how important that is, because you already had a little bit of momentum before 2008 hit, right?
Very true. So let me kind of go back and explain for people. So I started investing in real estate in 2001, 2002. I was in my early 20s and I was doing it with no knowledge, just kind of what you see on HGTV and things like that. And so, of course, when the market crashed, I lost everything. Had to go back to my parents' basement, you know what I mean? And just defeated and as an idiot. And it was there in that basement that I said, okay, let me see what's going on. Let me learn about this. And started to be different instead of just trying to do stuff, you know what I mean? Because I always had that inside of me to be an entrepreneur. And I knew that I wanted to do big things. But at the same time, I was always thinking, I didn't need no one to coach me. I didn't need to take any classes. I didn't even think I needed to finish college, if you get what I'm saying. But life kicked my butt and it was like, no, sis, you need to learn, then do it. And then you will be much more successful. So that's what I did. And kind of what I love telling people, like, just take a moment and learn about it, learn deeply. And you can really be successful once you have the right knowledge and it's out there. You just got to take the time and not think that, oh, I can just do this. I don't need to ask nobody nothing. I could just watch TV and a couple of videos and it's.
So now you're on this path, right?
Yeah.
You're on this trajectory, and then at some point, and I know this didn't happen overnight, and I bring this up too because there's that overnight success thing that takes all these years, right? Many people have said it better than me, but YouTube at some point kind of fits in the picture. And like, did you want to do your first YouTube channel? Were you like really excited? Because I'll tell you, for our podcast, like I told Shirag, I'm like, Shirag, I'm not doing no podcast. What do you mean I gotta do a podcast? We're trying to sell some books here and you want me to talk to people on a podcast? I fought it. Like, how did your first YouTube channel come about?
That is funny. I'm just sitting here laughing and smiling because YouTube was something people pushed me to. And it's so funny because how I'm very popular on YouTube and people loved it. You don't understand how I thought I shouldn't do it. It's stupid. You can't, go on camera. And like you said, I dreaded it. Not even like, it's so, I'm almost like hate saying it out loud, how stupid, like how dumb, dumb idea I thought. And I was so wrong. Like I thought I should not be on social media very much. I should not teach these things. I shouldn't tell people these things. Like it was just so wrong, but that is what I thought. And it quickly, your audience kind of starts to pick up. And if you go into it with genuineness and authenticity, people really were encouraging. Of course, there's mean people, and every now and then, but I was really supported. And so I was like, wow, okay, people are finding inspiration in this and people are really getting stuff out of it and doing it. And then I got excited.
How about the first time? So your content, for those that haven't seen your channel, maybe tell us a little bit about the content. Real estate folks, of course, but some of the types of things you maybe talk about before we go further.
Yeah, so the YouTube channel, when I first started, I was really just talking about wholesaling, okay? Because that was the thing that got me out of my parents' basement, finding people that were behind on payments or, in bankruptcy, foreclosure, probate, things like that. Getting those deals under contract and then flipping those contracts to an investor, so for a fee, assigning contracts, basically. So that's what I came to YouTube with. Just like, I'm going to show you that me as a woman, me of a woman of color, like I did this and made a lot of money with it. Then I started fixing and flipping. Then I got into rental properties, just telling people the easiest thing to do to start getting some money. And those videos really did well, how to talk to sellers, how to put your signs out, what to say when they call you, different videos about that, and just going and telling everything that I had paid all that money for at some of those conferences and seminars. I just went on YouTube and told for free. And that was that.
Oh, that's so interesting. And how long did it take for you, like, in terms of like putting out content, things like that, to like start getting a little bit of momentum? Do you remember?
I would say it was a year. I would say it was one solid year. And I tell people that's really what it is to anything. If you give something consistent 1 year, you'll see a big difference. So going from you like no subscribers to where the channel is literally making $20,000-$30,000 a month, that is 1 year. So that to me is incredible, you know what I mean? And then all of the different ways that I learned to then monetize it, you know, with people asking to do sponsored content, or, you know, obviously I could say, hey, you want my book for free? I could, you know, so it just became so many different things, and so powerful, that I was like, wow, I wish I'd have did this 5 years ago.
Yeah, and I feel like the concept. So as I've gotten to know you better over this time, and just to kind of follow your work and your content and the breadth of it and the other things, like, it's impressive because you're well developed in your niche, but you're always focused on bringing new content and different angles and different ways to add value with what you're doing to your community that you build through the coaching side, the YouTube side. I mean, through New Res, your real estate company, you name it. I kind of see all of these things, and even though you do a lot, like, you're within your niche.
Yeah.
And I find, like, so you got so much traction. I'm not saying because of the channel, all the things, but like, you found your niche, you stood with it, and you keep on digging. And I feel like sometimes when some people get discouraged, whether it's YouTube or podcasting or all these other things, because they don't really, and not down anybody, but like, they don't stick with something long enough to see it really work.
Right. And I think that's it. You got to just weather that storm. Obviously, there were days when I didn't feel like making a video. But then at the same time, there were days when I was excited and could not wait to film, you know, and make those YouTube videos. So powering through it, even when you don't want to do it, is definitely going to be a trait that any entrepreneur could use in anything. But I really beg of people, give something 1 year. Like, seriously, be consistent about something for 1 year, whether it be weight loss, health, finance, wealth, like any area of your life. If you are consistent with doing that good thing for a year, you're gonna see an amazing turnaround.
And so you know, through example, built a business, built a real estate company, then at some point you start getting inquiries, or like how did the coaching, like, how did this evolve to where you're not, and I know you're still actively involved in real estate and purchasing properties, running properties, and I'd like to make that distinction that you actually do what you're saying you're doing, have a brick and mortar business. Not downing anybody that doesn't and that just does coaching, but I do like to personally make that distinction. So at some point you transition and you start adding coaching to your plate. Like, how did it develop?
So it's funny, obviously doing the real estate and having, you know, rental properties, and then, you know, obviously being a licensed real estate agent, then becoming a real estate broker, that kind of course, that's just like my business, if you get what I'm saying. And to me, more than anything, that's why I can teach it so well and so easily, is because it is what I do every single day. You know what I mean? I am involved in real estate. And then taking it a step further, where we did the crowdfund and raise money, and saying, okay, here's how you do it, and bringing investors in, and just growing it to all of the levels that are possible. You know what I mean? I feel like I want to just crash through every door. You know what I mean? All of the things that they said that we could not do, you know what I mean? Or maybe we were held back from historically. I'll say that we can do now. So I want to, you know what I mean? If there was a time when, you know, I think like with the crowdfund, that wasn't even really possible until 2012. You get what I mean? With the Jobs Act. So it's like all of these doors have been opened up with so many things for us to become wealthy, that it's like, I got to share this information. I got to do it. I got to see what's possible.
Now, I know you were doing, I mean, you did a ton of it. I think you're still doing in-person events, and then pandemic came, a lot of other things. And then I know you started doing some online things as well. And you got like give us a feel for maybe how you're now engaging best with your students.
So still the events, obviously I love that the country has opened back up, you know what I mean? So because one of the best events that we have is the Grow Your Wealth event, okay? Like for example, the next one is May 5th through the 7th. We're probably, the marketing will go out for it very soon. It'll be like growyourwealthevent.com. And that's an event where I teach, but we also do a tour. Literally, they get on these luxury buses and they go see my properties. You know, some of my, we do it in the Orlando area. So we get to, go by the properties and they get to touch them and see them. And then we can go through numbers, and it becomes so real for people that's when they really take off. I see so many people really just take off once they are able to come and see the properties, because more than anything, it's like, they believe it. I feel like I come across, very genuine, but once you see me in person, you see the properties, it's like, oh, okay, wait a minute. This is not difficult. We start opening the pulling back the curtains to really show you how it's done. But then we also have the challenge, which is a virtual event where I'm teaching for 2 full days. And that's, right directly from the computer. And that's, super inexpensive. So me, again, doing a lot of content on YouTube and Twitter and this type of content that's completely free, teaching people, but then giving them low cost options to either see me virtually or, fly out to Orlando or Atlanta or, one of the cities that we're doing an event in, and see the actual properties and meet me in person. But just having all different types of options for people. That's what I'm about.
Yeah, I think it's great now. And you've been in this part of the space for a while, and you've had some students that have had some success in investing and actually implementing what you're teaching. How long have you been coaching now?
So probably officially since 2017. Okay.
Wow. Doesn't time fly?
It does. I was like, wow, yeah, 2017. And it was so funny because I just did it on such a smaller level, and I laughed because when I first started, okay, here's a big secret. You know how they tell you whenever you're going to do something, you have to niche down. So you need to niche down, Noel. So my coach would tell me, you got to niche down. And so I was like, all right, I want corporate women of color, like my age. You start doing an avatar that's basically you. And I just, laughingly, yes, I feel like I had some impact, but I have mostly men. If I have to be honest, it's probably 51-49 men, women in my coaching program that I coach. Success stories, it's really even. Different races, different genders, different sexuality, different, parts of the country, like really just more realizing that it wasn't about the demographics, it was really about the mindset. And I just kind of connect to so many different types of people that's been that's been fun with the coaching, like how many different types of people and how many different types of people I've been able to connect with and them find success in, real estate and in business.
Now, I know that obviously, every individual person's going to be different and different background, different resources they're coming to the table with, a lot of different reasons that maybe some people can be successful. Yeah. But through your program and through like the people that you work with, yeah, like what are some of the common themes, whether it's traits or otherwise, that have made maybe some successful versus others? Like what have you found for those that just kind of stick out?
Yeah, so it's gonna be the person that, it's funny, two major categories. The one that's like really fed up, you know what I mean, with what their current state is, and they're willing to change what they're doing. You get what I'm saying? You know how sometimes like when I was in my parents' basement, broke, bankrupt, it was almost like I knew I had to do something different. That person, who's kind of just like, this is the last thing, you know what I mean? I'm investing in this, and if it doesn't work, I'm going bankrupt, and I'm just gonna add you to my bankruptcy, like that person. That's usually a successful person, because they're just like, I'm going for it and I'm gonna just make this work. And then there's the person I feel like that is ready for something new. You know what I mean? Not that they're fed up with what they're going on, because of course that's a motivator, being fed up. But then the person that's really forward looking, like I really see this potential for me. I really see where I fit into this. You know what I mean? Not just going through the motions, or it's the next hot thing that they see, real estate. Oh, I want to flip houses because I saw it on TV. Yeah. But just know, like, no, I really, and I kind of ask them their vision, and that's when I can hear it, if they're really serious or not. So really fed up or really looking for something, new.
So I want you to this is kind of like the pay it forward time. So a lot of people, let's say whatever niche, doesn't matter. Real estate doesn't, creating content, like finding ways to add value. You do it through a lot of different channels. Obviously, you've grown and you've been able to kind of expand and now do them through different channels, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, I mean, you name it. You're all over the place. But what would you tell the people that are, I like to say, that are sitting on like all of this knowledge, but not like producing content? Like they're still kind of holding back. Maybe they don't, maybe for whatever reason.
Yeah.
What would you tell them about like getting out there?
Yeah, so I would tell them to go for it. You meet so many people that are talented, that have great information, that know things, that even if they some of the things worked out, and then even the things that didn't work out, how valuable that knowledge is, how valuable their story is. Like, hey, I tried this thing and it didn't work, and then I tried this thing and it did work, or vice versa. That is so helpful. So people will have all of these skills and talents and knowledge inside of them and are never sharing it with the world. What a disservice. And I say that as someone that used to be that, someone that, I knew some stuff. I knew I was, I had some stuff inside of me, but for years was like, no, I'm not going to put myself out there. I'm not, you know what I mean? So I'm like, you don't be that fool. Be smart. Be the new version of me. Like, you can do it. Start putting your content out there. That is an amazing way to bring value to your community. It's an amazing way to connect with people that are like-minded. Yes, you may get some haters, but you're going to find a lot of support and people that are just like you, that want to work with you, that want to partner with you, that want to, whatever it is that you do. So you should definitely put your stuff out there, go on social media, put your content, put yourself out there and go for it.
So you mentioned earlier the idea of like consistency. Do you happen, I mean, you may not, I know it's been a while, but roughly how many videos do you think you put out that first year?
That first year, I know for a fact, we could just do the math. I would do 20 videos per month. Okay. So it was 5 days per week. Yeah. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. I go film 20 of them. It was a one day though, 9 to 5. All right, because the videos are 10 to 15 minutes each. I would have my bullets, okay? They're not full, not reading off a teleprompter, none of that stuff, but just bullet points of my scripts. Then I would just go, because like I said, it really, especially if it's something you do, like if it's like I do real estate, so I could make 100 videos. So that first year, you do the math, 20 videos times 13. I cannot do that on top of my head.
Rod can, don't worry. He's sitting there. But when you say consistent, I love the way you broke that down. You broke down your schedule, because some people will listen to this. I'm glad we got in the weeds on that one. Yeah. Some people will listen to this and they'll say, well, I did a video once a week for the year. If that's where your level's at, by the way, I would be ecstatic if somebody has a dream and they do one video per week for a year. Right. That's an accomplishment.
That is. And you will see. I think even if you did one video a week, every single week for a year, I still think you would see some good progress. Now, obviously, I would go for 3 or 5, but at the same time, I know you would start to get some traction because it's the consistency.
Totally. And my thing is that what you did though was you chose to compress time by adding more and doing more and like refining your content, your message, and really just being authentic in your story and what you do. So you do real estate, so you shared information about what you do, right? But you did it with massive action. Yeah. Like 20 videos, like that's no joke. Like some people may not, and again, I'm not downing anyone else. We're all in our own level of this journey.
Right.
Like you said, one video a week, ecstatic. But if you want to grow something, like it's gonna be work. You said 9 to 5. You had so if you take content, and in the age that we're at, this renaissance of really content creation, if you take it serious, like there's not only money to be made, but there's a lot of people you can help. Yes. What you found, like, I don't know if like when you went into your YouTube channel originally, if you had the mindset of ultimately turning to coaching or what, but through your coaching, was that an evolution or was
that was an evolution? Oh, yes, Adam, that was an evolution. So I went there and at first I would say, hey, you want to partner, send me deals. I was looking for almost like bird dogs. You know what I mean? Like help me find some properties, get me some deals. And then people are like, well, you got to teach me. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. And so then that
every time that's new. I didn't know that. Wow. So you weren't even thinking about coaching. You're like, I want to do some deals.
Yep.
So you were just out there being the real deal. And then, oh, you got to
Yes.
teach me. I'm going to get you a profit if I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
It is. It's funny. And then came the books, you know what I mean? Because that let me keep going with the content. So this is what the secret sauce that I love sharing with people about the content. And if this doesn't motivate you, nothing will. I told you I'm able to do the YouTube videos in one day, 20 videos. Okay. It's one hard days of work, but it's one day. Then from the YouTube videos, you got your YouTube videos. Then they chop those up. That's your YouTube shorts. Okay. That's your Twitter posts and they put it on TikTok. They chop it up and they put it on TikTok. Okay. Then they put it on Facebook. They put it on Instagram. You know, they chop up that one day's worth of content and put it on all the social media. Okay, let's go. Every video ends with a call to action. Okay, so every single video I do, I'm offering you, hey, get my book, or hey, you want to come to an event, or hey, do you want to do this? Get one of my downloads. I'm going to grab your email address. I am going to get something. I'm going to make some offer. Okay, and that adds up really quickly. And if I told you I'm doing 20 videos a month, then those offers are everywhere. I just told you we chop the content up, put it everywhere. You take the transcript, that's your blog. You take just the audio, that's the podcast. So it's so much you can repurpose the content and do. Now, I'm not saying this is going to you're going to have to put some effort into the other platforms. Don't get me wrong, but this is an easy way to get a lot of content out there with one day's worth of work and really get a lot of money. Okay, because you're making offers, you're getting deals. Whatever your call to action, whether you're looking for clients, whether you have deals for them, whether you do mortgages, whatever you do, you're gonna get leads.
And my point on this, and I like to hear somebody else preaching this for a change. My point is, at least you're in the game then.
Right.
Like, you're not even in the game if you're not producing some form of content.
Right.
You don't have to be like over the top, and that wasn't even your point in the beginning.
Right.
So now somebody might look at you and say, okay, YouTube influencer, or this or that, or all these followers, or this, that. But that isn't even where you were starting to do. You were starting to get deals because you wanted to see who you could do a real estate deal with.
Exactly.
So it was completely opposite of what someone might think was the face value.
Right.
And what it is you found a way to build, but you had to put yourself in the game.
That's right.
If somebody's sitting on the sideline and you're not even in the game, then you don't even have a chance to let something evolve. Maybe coaching's not going to be your thing.
Right.
Like, maybe it's going to be something else.
Right.
But you got to be in the game.
Right. Exactly. Got to get in the game. There's so many wins if you get in the game.
So speaking of being in the game, that was my big transition. I got one more question for Noelle, and I'll let everybody else get ready for their questions. If anybody wants to raise their hand to go next, then we'll you get to have some questions. I told everybody that I wouldn't hog the whole microphone or the whole interview. But so books, we're fans of books. We're avid book people. We as publishers, and you were already an author prior to working with us, and I'm so proud and thrilled to have recently published a book with you. And I know we're just getting started on the promotion of that and all the things that entails, and it's gonna be fun. Can't wait to have you back on the show. But books, like, what if, like, you do online and you do still physical books?
Yes.
As a publisher, I like to have other people say it that are not publishers. Why do you think books still matter?
Books matter because it's an easy, low-cost way for people to learn, okay? First of all, I am a big advocate of reading, period. I have a nonprofit dedicated to children's literacy, so we won't even go there. I think reading is one of the best things that you can do, and one of the things that I did, like I said, I got coaching, and I read. I had to start learning to read, and so I love books because it's such an inexpensive way. Like, you could literally get coaching, or you could read like these 10 books. And honestly, in many cases, it's the same thing. So it really is a low cost way. And for an influencer or a person that does something, any type of professional, it's such credibility. You know what I mean? When I show them that I have written a book, now I wasn't even going for like bestseller and Amazon and some of those things that I've done. I was really just trying to find a low cost thing to give information to people. But then the credibility of how people are like, wow, you're an author, you're a published author. How great that was for the brand was so amazing to me. So those two things, like it's just good all around.
All right, I will. I'm gonna pass the mic, Mark. Got a question for Noelle, and Mark's in Florida too. So you guys at some point got to connect because Mark's.
Yes.
I'll let Mark talk for himself, but he's part of our community. He's in the real estate niche too in another area. But I'll let Mark go. Mark.
Hey, thanks. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Noel. It's a pleasure listening to you. You're such a ball of fire.
Oh, thank you, God. Mark.
Oh, wow. You know, I was just at the Inman conference in New York. I don't know if you were there.
No, I was not, but I have heard of it. Yes. So yes, tell me about it.
Yeah, well, let me tell you about myself.
Okay.
I own DPI Showcase websites. My company's been creating websites for realtors for about 19 years now.
Okay.
And I have clients all over the country, but what I've been doing for over 20 years is teaching marketing classes to realtors at the Miami Association of Realtors. One of my favorite classes is surviving the first 6 months as a realtor.
Yes. I love it.
And you get all the newbies in there, you know?
Yes. Yes. That's exciting. No, that's actually very exciting. Like, no, all seriousness. So like I said, I recently became licensed broker, went from, salesperson to broker, because I just never had time to take the test and all of that stuff. So I'm with the Orlando Association of Realtor, and I'm taking a lot of these classes that the board offers, and it is some great education.
Yeah, I mean, one of the first things I teach them is that they have to do a business plan.
Right.
I said, hey, this is a business,
yes.
you know?
Yes.
And then I tell them that they have to change their mentality from being an employee to being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And then they look at me like, oh, wow. Uh-oh. They get scared. You see their eyes opening. So the first question, I have a few questions. Sorry, Adam.
Do it.
Right. I'm ready. I love this.
This is your turn.
Yes. Yeah.
Good.
So the first question is, like, I was sitting at the Inman conference. I don't exhibit at these things. I sit in the audience.
Okay.
And you get all these like motivational speakers up there, and then you look at the audience, and sometimes they get glazed, or they kind of look frustrated because here's people telling them, yeah, rah, but they don't know how to do it. Yeah. How do you combat that?
It's hard because the rah and the motivation, truly, I think anybody that is successful knows that it's mostly mindset. So unfortunately, once you're successful, you're always trying to tell people about the mindset. Like you just said, that like, you got to change your mindset to an entrepreneur. You got to kind of let some of those old thinkings go. You know what I mean? Like when you become a real estate agent and you're like, okay, I'm now an entrepreneur. I have to learn how to hunt. I have to feed myself. That's a different mentality than like a zoo animal that's being fed, and I often use that comparison for someone at a job. They're like, a lion in the zoo. They're fed, they're taken care of, but then a lion in the wild hunts. And that's what an entrepreneur is. So that I get it. I really do. But at the same time, if they would not glaze their eyes over, and they would probably start to really learn the answer to what's holding them back from being successful in real estate, from being the successful real estate agent that they want to be. It usually is some limiting belief about how much money they could make, or how difficult it is, or what the market is, or something about the economy, or some silliness about who's the president. And some of those things are so crazy. But that's what people hold on to. And that's really the stuff that's holding them back. So I get it at those conferences. They love the motivation. And people are like, get to the real stuff. But it's just like, I'm trying to tell you, that is the real stuff. Like, you got to change your mindset first before any of the scripts work.
Thanks. That's great. Yeah, what I do is I give them a how-to, like, here, steps 1, step A, B, and C. Go do this,
Yeah.
But like, here's how you post on Facebook or Instagram, you know, or here's how you set up your business page on Facebook. A, B, C.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Love teaching people how to, but let's be honest. Let's have a conversation, Mark. How many real estate agents really use social media the way that they should? In real, like, seriously, let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, You know, I always give the story of Dr. Redmond.
Okay.
Dr. Redmond was my Bio 101 teacher when I was in pre-med. That lasted one semester, by the way. And it was an auditorium of about 200 people. And he said, look to your right, look to your left, because 90% of you will not make it to med school, but we need you here to pay the bills. So those 85% of those realtors who do one deal a year, we need them, you know, to pay the boards.
It's true.
You know?
It's true. It's true. I know. And it's the same thing. Like I said, I've been to college and it's the same thing. And you realize that most people go to college, they don't finish. And so most people start things and they don't finish. And to me, of course, that's fine. That's how life is. And if we did any industry, I'm sure the stat would be the same. But it almost hurts my feelings because I know real estate is the number one way to wealth.
It is. And it's the fastest way to start your own business.
Correct.
And start generating cash flow.
Right.
One of the biggest challenges, though, I find is technology. Most real estate agents are not tech people. I mean, what you're doing with your YouTube channel, listen, I have a YouTube channel with tons of training videos. So what you're doing, I feel your pain. But technology is really hard for these people.
That's a belief right there. And that's what, you know, and you're funny because you're repeating back to the stuff that they say to you and they say to me that technology is hard. And I'm like, my son's autistic. He's never said a word and you should see him with an iPad. Don't tell me this is hard. It's not. And some of these things are so much more simpler now than they used to be. Let's think about how much easier it is now to search for a property in MLS versus 10 years ago.
They used to have books.
Right. Like there's so many, like automation. You get a client, they tell you they want a 3-bedroom, 3-bath in a certain area. You freaking stick it into MLS and every time a listing hits, it will automatically email them. You don't even have to do anything.
So
technology helps. Is my point.
Yeah, I mean, I tell them to draw a line in the sand. Do what you're comfortable in doing and just do it.
Yeah. See, I'm a coach. And so I'm more like the trainer at the gym. And I'm like, look, you want to be rich or you want to be broke?
So one of the things that we went through the past few years, yeah.
I was like, dang, nobody laughed.
I didn't get on Twitter. Like, because there's a bunch of us in here, so everybody's laughing.
Because I'm like, no, do it. Come on. Technology is not going anywhere. Right. Where technology will be here. You can learn these simple little things. You guys can learn these little apps. It's easy.
Go ahead. Sorry, Mark.
Sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
No, I'm cool, man. This is a fun time. You know, this is what we do every week.
Yeah, it's real talk.
It is, you know. It's not scripted.
Right.
Yeah, one of the other challenges that happened recently is, you know, the market changed.
Yeah.
And I kept saying to people, all right, it's, you know, we're going from a seller's market to a buyer's market. Just change your hat and go to work.
Exactly.
So, you know, what's your take on that?
So I think it was a good thing. Obviously, we know that after the pandemic, okay, so let me give you this little quick thing. So I have a master's degree from Penn State in economic development. So I absolutely love this conversation about different trends and things of that nature. So if we have to say, just from that standpoint alone, we had to start rationing, like fixing the market. After the pandemic, there was the supply demand was off. It was completely off. Like we don't even have to get into anything deep with economics, but we know the demand when everybody came out of the pandemic, everybody wanted houses and there was not enough supply. There was no building materials being made during the pandemic. All the factories were shut down and it took a long time, much longer than we thought, I think, to start catching back up with all the building material and all of the demand that people wanted. And people were going crazy, bidding with each other for, you know, new construction houses and going on these bidding wars and I'll pay you double and 20,000 over the list price, all this craziness that it had to level out. And I think 2023 is more of a market correction and we're kind of correcting and getting more so than it being like a crash. I definitely think we're going to see some recession type stuff. You know, we can talk about that. But at the same time, for the real estate market, I think this is about right.
we're returning to normal is what we're doing.
Right. Correct.
Interest rates historically were 6%.
Yes. Correct.
And I look at the statistics in Miami of sales. 2021 was like crazy, but now we're returning to normal.
Right. And Miami but the thing about it too, like areas like Miami, the demand is still high, so there's certain areas too in certain markets where, others correct it faster or more so than others. But I think pretty much all of Florida, I think we're getting a good benefit. I think we're the Florida market for the most part, I feel like is in a really good position.
That's great. It's really great listening to you talk. Adam, I'll turn it back to you because I you know me, I can keep talking.
Let's get Dunley involved over here. Dunley, welcome.
Hey Adam, how's it going? Noel, great hearing the energy.
Thank you.
That's I love feeling the energy, even where I am in this kind of frigid box, what we call up in Toronto here. That the energy is nice to kind of warm you up. And
well, good. I like Toronto. I like Toronto.
Yeah.
I do. That's a great city.
Yeah, the city of Drake, right?
That's right. I put y'all on the map.
Yeah, right. I hear you. I got some family in Florida, so it's most definitely it's a nice spot. But what I hear, what you had to say or are saying, and you talked about mindset being such a key thing. So let me just kind of back up here. So Denley Magtosh, coaches. I have a podcast called The Coach's Corner on Adams and Chirag's and the Mission Matters Podcast Network. So my focus is on helping people through getting good coaching so they have a friendly corner to rest, think, and engage the world better around them. So I want to see folks get that knockout of success fairly. And that's what you're helping people to do, get that knockout of success fairly.
Yeah.
And one of the things, I appreciate the mindset. And one of the things I'm interested to ask you is the power of partnership. I remember reading a book called The Millionaire Mind, I think by Thomas Stanley. And he talked about what people do to get wealthy, or what wealthy people do that draws wealth to them. And one of the chapters, you talk about the people in their lives, having partnership, whether it be a close friend or your spouse. So my close partner is my wife, and we challenge each other in terms of building a different mindset and looking at the world differently. So my question for you, who's that person that challenges you to differ that mindset? Because at the end of the day, you're doing what you're doing, which is great, but a coach always needs a coach.
Right.
Who's that coach? And what particular book has really motivated you, inspired you? I'd be interested to kind of hear those kind of two things. So
okay. So I love what you said about the friend and support. Obviously, especially with entrepreneurship, I feel like that's like the best personal development that you could ever go through. Starting your own business, fighting your way through it. And, especially if you can be successful, whether you're successful or not, I think you're definitely going to learn so much about yourself. You know what I mean? And so through that journey, having someone to support you, having a friend, I really kind of just closed in. And like me and my husband, we just incubated. That's what we would call it. We're like going to incubate, because we kind of decided at the same time that we were going to leave these jobs, and he was going to start writing full time. He writes songs, and he was going to really just do music, which, was crazy to a person. And, I'm saying I'm going to go flip houses full time. And so people thought we were crazy. So we really had to just be each other's friend and only talk to each other. And that was enough. And then, like you said, listening to positive things, reading positive books. One of the books that I read that I love, and I even give to my students today, John Maxwell. And actually one of my mentors, okay, I'll go back. His name is Toby. I won't say was, because he's still alive. And he's one of the co-founders of Movement Mortgage, okay, company I used to work for. And when I first met him at the interview, he handed me a book by John Maxwell called Becoming a Person of Influence. And I was taking a position like as a manager. And so instead of, because usually as a manager, that's authority. You're the manager and people should listen to you because you're the manager. but that's not his philosophy. And we were having such a great conversation about leading by influence instead of by authority. And so then I fell in love with those books. And then there's John Maxwell. He has all these little short books, like How Successful People Think, How Successful People Grow, How Successful People, God, I forgot. But but those How Successful People Think, How Successful People Grow, those are my favorites, as well as Becoming a Person of Influence. So, and then you have all the greats, of course, Think and Grow Rich, and, you know, Brian Tracy, No More Excuses. I could go on and on about books because I like books.
Oh, yeah, you're a bibliophile, if I can use that term, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, just having that bibliophile attitude.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I enjoy John Maxwell, Dr. Maxwell, with the leadership. And yeah, I think those materials are so important, and not just in real estate, but just anything that you're inspired to take it to the next level. And so I appreciate the book, and similarly having a spouse in your corner, or for some, it may not be a spouse, but it's just someone who's just real with you, right? Just say, hey, you need to kind of snap out of that, right? Yeah. You know what? As Les Brown said, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, right?
Yes, and someone that's not going to beat you up when you lose, because every day is not going to be sunshine and strawberries. So the last thing you need, if something's not going right, is for your person to be kind of piling on. So it's like you either need a supportive spouse or partner or support system, or none at all, because you are enough. I am also a big believer in you are enough. Okay,
that's
so
right.
Here we go.
That's right. That's right. And yeah, if your spouse doesn't believe you, your friends don't believe you, you got to believe yourself first and foremost.
That's right.
And you gotta keep at it, keep doing it. And
that's right. To heck who believes.
Like
Who believes. It doesn't matter what they believe. It really doesn't. And that's another thing. We have to, you can care about people. This is another Noel-ism. You can care about people, but you do not have to care what they think.
Absolutely.
Love that. Noel, we usually like to keep these to about an hour, but I got one actually final question for you.
Okay.
I'm actually curious, because I know you've been on this train of creating tons of content and you're very consistent at it.
Yes.
Was there like an inflection point, or was there like a virality like hit that you got, like, or was it just
No, it was definitely a moment, but I almost knew this. Okay, so let me kind of go back and be really transparent. So I started kind of doing the YouTube thing by myself with my computer, doing what people say, start ugly. Started, with my computer using Zoom and recording them on a Zoom. Awful, okay, awful quality. Go back and look. I look awful. And then I started to get some traction. So of course, when you see some success, you invest. And so I started investing in it. And then eventually I got with Nate Woodbury and was flying out to Utah. And that's when he started producing my channel, and me really kind of getting deliberate about the titles that I was picking and my descriptions and my thumbnails, and like really being deliberate about it, because it started making money. So I could see like, wow, what if I invested more into this? This would make more. And of course, that's what happens. And that's what did happen. And so at about month 7, there was a video that we did that basically went viral. And then the next month, we had another one. And when I say viral, 500,000, 800,000, 1 million views. And then, but at the same time, remember, never was my goal. Every little video, remember with YouTube, you paid for every view, and I'm getting leads. So to me, that was the best part. But there was a viral. Yeah, definitely around month 7.
I love that.
Yeah.
And in terms of like, just curious, with older content, do you still have all that older content from like day one? Is that still there? Heck
yeah. Still on my channel. I did not take it down. Here's another thing. I think my audience loves seeing the progress. And that's the inspiration. Look at even, people, they're like, Noel, they even tell me I look better, like physically. And it's funny because I'm getting older, but it's like, no, you're getting prettier. I'm getting richer. I'm getting better at this. I'm getting better lighting. I'm getting better makeup artist, better hairstylist. So leaving that old content up is so important, so people can see your growth, your progress, and it inspires them to start the way they are, because they know it's going to grow if you stick with it. So I would never take it down.
And how long ago did you get started?
That was 2018. That was 2018 with the YouTube.
4 or 5 years. There you
go.
Yeah.
And then I took it full time in 2020.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Incredible story.
Thanks.
Look, we like to keep these to about an hour.
Okay. I'm good for that because it's 8 p.m. and I got to put babies to bed. I get these lashes off.
I guess anyone have any final questions for Noel before we all part ways?
Yeah, I got a question for you, Noel. So Dylan McIntosh again, Coach's Corner, and what would you tell your younger self if you had to roll back the hands of time? What would you tell your younger self? What would you tell your younger baby girl and say, hey, you need to know this now because you can accelerate whatever you're doing.
That one is such a hard one. That's hard because here's the thing. I'm also like the believer in the butterfly effect and everything happens for a reason. So I fell down a lot. I made a ton of mistakes. Like I said, I was a disaster of a person till I was nearly 30 years old. Okay. So I could probably go back and change a lot of things. But at 42, I'm a multimillionaire mom of 5, happily married, successful businesses. Good God, why would I change anything? You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, I could tell sister girl, baby, younger version of me, a whole lot of stuff. Like we would be here all night.
Oh man, love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
well,
we got our own journeys, is basically what I'm saying. So I feel like we all have our journey. That was mine. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you guys. This was a great conversation. I absolutely love it. Thank you for teaching me Twitter Spaces. And I may use this again. And I'll invite you guys and we'll have another conversation. I love this. I'd love to do this with you guys again.
Absolutely. Love it. Well, you know what? We'll definitely take you up on that. So let's get that coordinated. But in the meantime, hope everyone has a great week. We have our next Twitter Spaces this Thursday at 4 p.m. PST. Next week, we have a conversation with Darren Prince. He's a sports and celebrity agent. Impeccable story on addiction, which he overcame in 2008. And so he's been sober 15 years now and has a remarkable story. We actually just published his book as well.
Okay, I love it.
So love to have you guys all join.
Yes.
Thanks again. Everyone.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Okay, so to my live streamers, let me answer a couple of questions up here before I really go to bed. Like I said, we got 1 minute, but Dwayne Mayweather, shout out to you. I love that. Yes, you can learn streets. I love it. Came from the streets, hugging the corner. Yes, like that's an entrepreneur. We're not going to get into that because you don't do that no more, but I love entrepreneurs. Natasha, thank you so much. Tisha, Natasha, I love you guys so much. You guys have some amazing questions and comments. Leading by influence, so important. Yes, thank you, Chirag. Yes, definitely cannot mention without Toronto. So I love you guys. Thank you so much. noelschallenge.com for a virtual event. It's super inexpensive. Or if you want to see me live, 3-day event, growyourwealthevent.com. Thank you so much. Love y'all. See you next week.